All right, welcome back to Musical Musings. I'm Jamie.
I'm Jack.
I'm Cal.
And this week is an album episode. We are going to be listening to Bloom by Beach House. So if you guys want to go and take a listen, and you can join back once you're done.
We'll post a link to the whole album, I guess.
Yeah. Sounds good. We might, I don't know how are we listening to it? Are we going to do...
Let's do...
like 3 songs, come back?
Yeah,
chat?
So the album it's 2 records.
On vinyl, yeah.
Yeah, on
if you're
vinyl.
listening on vinyl.
With 3 songs per side, I think.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's listen to one side and just see.
Yeah,
and then we'll tell
yeah.
you. We'll tell them when we get back what we've done.
We give you a lot of homework on this podcast.
We do, yeah.
Just go listen to a whole album. Like, you have the time,
Hour
right?
and 45 minutes.
You're doing nothing. Yeah. All right.
All right, welcome back. We have decided to listen to one side of each record and then talk about each track. So we've just finished listening to the first 3 tracks on the album. If you guys want to give your first thoughts. I should mention the first song on the album we listened to in our first episode. But I just love this whole album, so I wanted to put it in as one of my picks. So I don't know if I'll have a lot to say about the first song since we did a whole episode for it.
Yeah, I mean, we can reiterate like how good that song is.
Yeah.
Like listening to the first 3 songs, we listened to Myth, Wild, and Lazuli. And Myth specifically is a really good way to open this album, I think, because all the songs. I also see why. So there are only 3 songs on each side of the album, and there are 4 sides total, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, the second record, I think each side has 2 songs, but they're both
Longer.
The songs on that record are a little bit longer. Yeah.
So I kind of get why. I guess like because every song transitions so smoothly into the next one, you really don't have a time to breathe between them. Mm-hmm. So having 6 songs on a side, I think you'd feel tired by the end. So like that natural break of like I gotta get up and flip it. That makes sense now.
Yeah, for sure.
So I do like that choice.
Yeah, I think what I gained from listening to Myth again in the context of the record is kind of like you said, Callum, just like it's a great opener. I think it sets the tone of for at least the next 2 songs. Just this kind of ethereal, dreamlike quality of the music.
It is very dreamy, isn't it?
Yeah. And, it's almost like, and even the instrumentals, it's just like, there's like a trance-like quality to the drums, this kind of droning pattern that goes on, but it really fits. And I think even with the lyrics, they're to me at least, they're very vague, but you can almost, the vagueness brings a blanket kind of relatability to it, where it's just like, it can be about whatever you want it to be. It's just kind of it almost feels like a dream where it's like you're feeling these kind of emotions, but they're not clear to you. And, we talked about Myth, like how, am I rambling on again? I was going to I'm reeling it back. Okay, come on.
Whip out your bingo sheet for Musical Musings and color in that middle square that everybody gets their freebie of Jack Rambles. Nothing about what you said was wrong.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say about, we already kind of talked about the meaning of Myth and how, it's a breakup song. Apparently, I was told, because I didn't get it.
It feels like one.
Yeah. The other 2 songs, though, I really don't really know what they're about.
There were certain lines, like Lazuli. Well, what
do you know what lapis lazuli is? It sounds like a flower.
It's a type of rock.
Yeah, it's like a gemstone or
okay.
some type of like a rock.
I learned it from Minecraft.
I also had the Minecraft reference
it's
in mind.
the only reason anybody knows what lapis lazuli is. It's because it's in Minecraft.
Okay, well, starting with Wild, I get a sense of a theme of escapism in that song. So let me just pull up the lyrics again. There's definitely, the song opens saying, my mother said to me I would get in trouble. My mother said to me I would get in trouble. Our father won't come home because he is seeing double. So you get the sense that maybe the dad might be an alcoholic or something along those lines.
You could interpret it like that. I interpret it like seeing double as a metaphor for an affair. Like seeing double.
Oh, interesting interpretation.
You should see Jack's shit-eating grin when he said that. Jack said that, and then Jamie not responded well, and Jack was like, fucking got him.
No, I didn't even think of that. That's a good point.
That actually does make a ton of sense. Like, it could be taken in a couple of ways. Like I said, the vagueness of it kind of applies, but that idea of, like, oh, he's got a different family or something, or like he just, like, oh, he's not going to come home tonight because he's like with the other woman kind of thing.
Yeah.
I still think that it might be related to alcoholism.
Yeah,
but
it could be.
It's kind of harder to.
It's not plainly said, so it can be interpreted either way, or maybe other ways. Who knows?
Let's listen to that song again.
The lyrics kind of go into. It seems like the singer, whoever is singing, someone is showing up, and they're kind of like escaping their home problems through either a person or going to another place. It talks a lot about go on pretending. I don't know. Escapism is like the key word that comes to mind with this song for me.
Yeah. Actually, I struggled to, like, I had the lyrics open on my phone. I was struggling to follow them just because I was kind of getting too lost in, like, the vibe of the song.
Yeah, that'll happen, yeah.
For some reason, just with that one, like, Lazuli, I could follow through and stuff like that, but that song, after the first verse, I was just like, I'm just going to listen to this. I can't.
Well, Lazuli didn't have many lyrics, at least compared to Wild.
Yeah.
And, at the end, it was just kind of like a mantra, like repeating the same thing. But, yeah, I think the escapism theme is valid because, I mean, just even with the Wild, yeah, I don't know. I like the line, the second verse. I like the use of color, out in the endless green, your eyes are so misleading. That's when your car pulls up, its hood is black and gleaming.
It does give you a really strong visual of what's happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of almost paints a world that is oversaturated. In the way of, in talk about the vein of escapism and stuff like that, or even to relate it back to how dreamlike the whole album seems to be so far, is when you dream, colors are more vivid. Things like that. So this idea of, like, well, my world is gray, so with this person, or if in my escape, everything is with more colorful. Like, green's are greener, black's are darker, stuff like that.
I guess if you guys have thoughts on the third track.
It opened and it did the same thing. There are a couple of songs that do it. Very specifically, Tears into Wine by Billy Talent opens in a way that, like, it just reminds me of an older Zelda game. I don't know why. It's like 8-bit almost. It sounds like arcade music. I don't know. Well, the weird enough, the intro to Tears into Wine, it just sounds like the Zelda theme.
Oh, does it?
It just, like, as the first time I heard it, I was like, are they, like, sampling the Legend of Zelda's theme? But this one, it just reminded me of, like, playing like an arcade-y style game as a kid. I don't know why.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to comment too is I love the production on this album. It almost sounds like I'm listening to it in like a very enclosed space,
It feels close.
Yeah.
And I think it's like the layers of sound, because there's so many different things going on that aren't fighting each other.
Yeah.
Like, the lyrics and the instruments are so complementary, but there's so much of it all that it just feels like a wall of sound to it.
Yeah.
Like it's like jumping into a really comfortable bed of sound.
It just envelops you.
Kind of, yeah.
It washes over you.
It does.
Like you're at a beach.
I don't need to
staying
shower
at a
anymore.
beach house.
Yeah. I think you should still shower, but
Yeah.
Make sure to shower, kids. Your daily tip for musical music. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, kids, take a shower.
Yeah, but I think the song's definitely, I mean, it's got to be about loss of something or someone meaningful. I can only assume that the interpretation would be about a relationship. And the repetition of the line that says, like no other, you can't be replaced. It kind of makes me feel like the person who's singing is almost like there's a sense of desperation, like they're begging this person to either stay or come back.
Yeah. Because we've done a few, even like Myth as a breakup song is more like, Myth feels like something that is ending that was, I'm trying to think of the word, like both people agree.
Mutual.
Thank you. Yeah, Myth feels like we both understand that this is bad, or like the person singing is like, I see that this isn't going anywhere. Maybe they're trying to like gently let the other person down. This one does feel desperate.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm not going to find anybody else. Like you are you, and I can't do it with anyone. I don't know why I phrased it like that.
You are you.
We'll do that. Keep that.
There's one line that stuck out to me though. It was the last line of verse 2, make us suffer like no other. So the outro is like no other, you can't be replaced. But the term, that phrase, like no other, when used in the first context, it's make us suffer like no other.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it like, well, first of all, who's the us? And then suffering, is it like they're making them suffer because they're leaving, or they made them suffer throughout the relationship?
That is interesting, because so much of this song is you. It's saying, like, you can't be replaced.
Yeah.
And this is like, to say, like, oh, this is us is an interesting point.
And we don't dare slip on by is the line before it. So all of a sudden it's plural.
Yeah.
Just strange.
I wonder if maybe it can be interpreted as the person they're singing about has maybe like moved away and it's been forced into like either a long distance relationship or that kind of killed the relationship. Mm. So I think the us would be like the two people in the relationship.
Yeah, like a situation has been forced onto us that like we didn't have a lot of control over, but it has like led to the end of this. I can see that. I also like Jack was saying with this with Wild, with the use of color and stuff like that. The first line of the song is "in the blue of this life." So same thing with keeping to that theme of like saturation and like vibrant color usage.
What color is lapis lazuli?
It's blue. It's like a vibrant.
It's got like I googled it too because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just like assuming Minecraft was correct.
I'll show you what.
But it looks like it can have like traces of like gold through it.
Okay.
I'm showing you a $2,500 necklace made of lapis lazuli that you can order now on like Amazon. That's lapis lazuli. So it's like a very, I don't know why, I showed you for like 1 second. It's very blue.
Yeah.
We'll throw up a picture of lapis lazuli from Minecraft.
That's the gold. Okay. Too. So, I don't know.
Interesting metaphor.
Yeah, I don't know much about lapis lazuli outside of the context of like using it at an enchantment bench to make your diamond sword better. But
I think maybe it's just that this person associates lazuli with the person, so it's like that, they're using the person as a metaphor for, or the other way around,
the stone is a metaphor for the person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's like because lapis lazuli is so vibrant and so deep or something like that, maybe they're associating the colors of the rock with how they see this person.
Yeah.
I'm sure. This is another one of those like really vague ones that's kind of hard to pin down exactly what it means. It's just the general feeling it gives you.
Mm-hmm. That's most of beach house music, I find. But that's one of the things that I really like because it I don't know. I just feel like anyone can find some way, shape, or form to relate to their music.
Yeah, I agree because you can get whatever you want out of it, So. I really hope you can't hear that.
I'm like, what do you
let's leave. We'll leave 10 seconds of silence at the very end.
Okay.
And try and like catch that in the.
Yeah.
Because I'll cut the. Oh, fuck.
Okay. Well, whatever.
This all stays in there.
Feeling somebody mowing their lawn at 6.
Do we want to listen to the next side?
Yeah.
We'll jump in.
All right. Well, we're gonna go listen to the next side of the first record, and we'll be right back. Okay, sorry. So now we are back. We have listened to the next 3 tracks, which are Other People, The Hours, and Troublemaker. What do you guys think?
This album is starting to remind me of Oasis for some reason. Like, the way that they end songs is very similar to how Oasis does it, with just, like, they take the last lyric or, like, one of the main lines of the chorus, and they just repeat it, like, 10 times until it kind of fades out.
I think that adds to that dreamlike.
It does, yeah. And it does it.
Trance.
This Beach House seems to be doing it better than Oasis, because when Oasis, you get to the end of an Oasis song and they start repeating it, I'm like,
like
next
shut
song.
the fuck up.
All right, Mr. Gallagher, that's enough.
I haven't listened to enough Oasis to comment on that, but
I was thinking about putting one on for the album stuff. So after today, when we get to pick one of mine, I'll probably replace it with What's the Story, Morning Glory.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like that element of. I didn't like this side as much as I liked side 1. I still like the songs for the most part, but they weren't to me as memorable as the ones on side 1. Maybe I like Troublemaker. That one is probably my favorite of the three on this side.
Interesting. That's my least favorite.
Really?
So far, yeah.
Huh.
Me too.
Really?
I mean, out of this side, I would say for sure.
I have a very specific. Well, when we get to Troublemaker, I have a very specific reason why I don't love it, but we'll get to that.
Okay, I'm interested when we get there because I struggle with what that song's about. But we'll get to that.
I think for some reason I feel like I know why Colin doesn't like it. But I don't know why.
I'll let you guess.
I could be so wrong.
Yeah, you probably will be.
Okay, so what do you guys think about Other People?
I like that one. It almost felt like I didn't know how ways to describe it, so I wrote down that the lyrics feel like they're being submerged into the instruments. Like
like they're difficult to tell apart.
Yeah, kind of. Like you know how lyrics are usually louder than the guitar and the drums, stuff like that. It felt like you were hearing the lyrics and then they would dip behind. They were still singing, but like an instrument would take over that. So it's like the waves were kind of cresting over and under this, like the voice of the person singing. Which was really cool. I've never heard enough. Normally, I'd be like, "What are they saying?" Like, I'm really annoyed that I can't hear this. But the way that the way they construct the feeling of the album, I thought that was neat. I didn't adore the song entirely, but like that was really interesting, and I liked the plosives. The plosives were very satisfying.
The what?
The plosives.
What is? I don't know.
You want to listen to one of Dave's classes?
What?
Listen up, Mr. Smiley. Jack didn't listen to your plosives stuff. It's when you're speaking and it's like the P's and the B's, the part that like pop into microphones.
Oh, I see.
Specifically, they say like people. Like there's a line with this. Let me look it up exactly to find the line.
I very much doubt Dave is listening.
Dude, Dave is a
Could you imagine me go back in September and he's like, so guys,
dude,
when's the next
like,
episode coming?
He's like, I love Piss on Your Grave.
Yeah.
Oh my god, don't start.
It's my favorite song in rodeo.
It's the only one he listens to.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they say like other people want to keep in touch, every time they say that, it's kind of like the up and down of the word people sounds really satisfying to me. I don't really know why.
Oh, so it's in a good way.
Yeah, it's good.
Because I feel like when Dave references it,
it's always
like
it's like if you can
negative.
hear plosives, it's bad. But like there's something about the way that they construct that word that
like it was intentional. Though.
Yeah. It stuck out to me as like satisfying. It's like a square peg into a square hole. It just like enters nicely into my brain.
It reminds me of that was a vacuum cleaner going on. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it reminds me of when you listen to vinyl, the S. There's a term for that. I would just say it reminds me of like when you listen to vinyl. There's a term for when the S sound gets kind of distorted called sibilance. Callum's always bringing these new terms to our show.
Like stalactites and stalagmites.
There's another one. I forgot.
I was thinking about it on the drive over to get Jameson.
Was that from the Lamb episode?
Yeah, I was driving and I was like in traffic and I was sat at a red light and I was like, how do they not know what stalagmites and stalactites?
Was that from?
And then I was like, why the fuck do I know what this is? Like,
wait, was that from In the Cage? Was that in the Cage? Yeah. I didn't know what it was.
I was just like, how do they not know what this is? And I thought on it for a second. I was like, that's so obscure. Why do I know what that is?
Yeah. Anyways, this song, Other People.
I also really like the percussion breaks. It's in like most of their songs, I feel like. But they'll like do a chorus and they'll stop and like all of the instruments will kind of stop and you'll just hear the drums for a few lines.
Yes.
And that's quite satisfying.
Yeah.
It lets you like breathe in before the song continues.
What song was it where they had a cymbal?
They had like the cowbell. I actually wrote it down.
Was it a cowbell?
Yeah, it was a cowbell, I think. It was.
Because I remember there was a part where it kind of added to like the kind of.
It is myth. I wrote it down. Like when like the beginning where it goes like ding, like that ding. I think is them hitting a cowbell.
Oh, another thing I wanted to mention was the sound effects. I feel like there's like seagulls or something.
Yeah, it's like a natural sound break almost.
Which I think every time I hear it, I think about beach house.
So do I. Yeah, I was gonna say like there was some very about the seagulls that I was like, it makes me feel like I'm at the beach.
Yeah.
Which isn't a beach song, which is kind of interesting. Like, none of these are something I would listen to on the beach.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not that type of vibe. But the seagulls, they kind of come in between Other People and the hours. And then once the hour starts, the first bit of it in the lyrics says, climb up to the tower so that you could see. And I feel like because of the seagulls, it makes me picture like a lighthouse or something. I don't know why, but that's like the visual that comes to my...
I pictured a similar thing.
Yeah.
Well, I pictured like the Tower of Babel or something.
Yeah, I pictured Rapunzel.
Okay.
Because it was like, oh, like, come and save me. So like, was the vibe of the song. So I just like, I thought I was thinking of Tangled. Yeah.
Fair enough, yeah.
I thought if we can, well, I don't know. unless you guys have anything other to say about other people, I was going to move on to the hours. But
Yeah, we can move on to the hours.
Yeah.
because to me, I thought that was the most interesting song. Actually, it's funny. I'm looking on. I'm using Genius to look at the lyrics, and somebody just put in like the description: underrated best beach house song. So definitely no.
What's his full tag? What's his home address?
What's his home address?
Actually,
You got a bone to pick with this guy?
actually, it's funny because I just noticed it as -6 upvotes. So
I don't even disagree. This is a really interesting song, but I'm just like.
and then somebody replied.
This is my top.
Somebody
One of my top songs. No, I feel like Myth is probably my top song.
Yeah.
And then I think The Hours
I actually
is
also
up there as well.
quite like this one.
Yeah.
Somebody just replied and said, "Yeah, bro, totally." Yeah, I like this one the most because I just feel like it's the most vague out of any of them.
It's very much like a.
I'm
Just take
sorry.
a quick break.
This, you know what this,
Your face, I
you know what this
can't.
reminds
The
me of?
facial expressions are like unhinged.
I don't even know what I did.
You know what it reminds me of? You ever listen to like the Monty Python records where somebody will watch across like both channels?
Okay, continue.
I don't remember what I was
It's
saying.
vague. He said it's vague.
Yeah, it is really vague. It's definitely one of those songs that feels.
Take a shot every time we say the word vague at the
Yeah.
start of the show.
Yeah.
Okay, even though it's vague, though, I feel like there's a lot of detail in the song to
There is.
unpack.
Yeah, the song feels like
It's vague, but also
yeah.
specific.
It feels like it's accusing somebody of something.
Yes.
Like I got the feeling that this was like all the other songs have been like melancholy or even sad and things like that, but this one almost feels like subdued anger,
Mhm.
like anger mixed with sadness rather than happy mixed with sadness.
I got the sense for what the song's about that whoever's singing is singing about someone who has, I guess, been unkind in a relationship. And the lyrics kind of point towards maybe it's because like they're scared of where the relationship might go or something along those lines. I'm trying to pull up the lyrics
Frightened
again.
eyes, right?
Yeah.
But it sounds like from specifically that lyric makes it sound like she's saying he or they have frightened eyes, like they're afraid of her for some reason. I didn't get the impression that like she was the one who was afraid. It's
No,
almost-
because she
No,
says
I
frightened
think-
eyes looking
look-
back at
yeah.
me.
yeah, so it's like they're accusing them of like being
Scared to fulfill the relationship almost.
yeah, maybe like the
Or
like a
taking
fear
a
of
step
commitment.
further, yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
oh, like I want this to be serious, but they
Yeah.
like can't match that. Or
What do
something.
you think the hours refers to?
I have no fucking clue.
Because that to me was like the climb up to the tower so that you could see all across the hours. Is it like you gain a perspective of like time, like all across the hours, like all this time, the hours of that we've been in this relationship.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to say
You
like
can
look
see all of
forward
it.
at like our life together. Like we could be dating and you could spend like a few hours with me on like a certain night, but like if we live together, like and our lives become almost one, looking at it like that, are you ready for that? Like
I think it's like it's a perspective thing of like go up to higher ground so you can see the big picture.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. Like a great way of phrasing it is like look at the big picture of where we are and where I want us to be.
I also think that the person who's singing is also kind of waiting for that commitment because not only does it say so that you could see all across the hours, they're asking, can I wait the hours? Almost like, can I wait long enough for you to come to terms with what you want out of this relationship?
Right. Right.
And I think that there is a line where the singer kind of like insinuates that they're like reflecting the person that they're singing about. They're reflecting their actions to kind of show them how it feels. They say, made in your reflection so that you could feel, mad in your intentions, fear it isn't real. And at the end, I think that, they point towards the problems being deeper than the relationship. Like maybe the person they're singing about has like past trauma with relationships, so they're unable to commit, something along those lines. I don't know. Like I said, it's vague, but it's also very specific.
We have matching songs.
We do. Well,
We
that's
have like the
color,
yin and yang of songs.
Yeah, yours are inverted. I only wear white because I only wear white socks. I don't know what So.
The fashion choice?
No, it's a more of a that's the only type my parents buy choice.
It's the same with me. It's like I just wear what I'm given. All right, you were saying?
No, that's pretty much all I was going to say about the hours. I want to guess though what your problem with.
Yeah, well, it's not even like a problem, but what do you think it is?
Okay, well, is it something? Because my first thought was that you didn't like the drum machine sound.
Those drum machine?
Like it almost sounds like I don't know if it was a sample or if they just used an old drum machine. Do you know what I'm talking about at the beginning of the song? There's kind of like I don't know. It sounded like a drum machine, like a very old school. No, okay. No. Well, that's obviously not.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's there. I can't like
let's do it again.
play the song in my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole song has like an organ under it, not like a piano.
Okay, so it wasn't an instrumental thing.
Yeah, it's like an organ, and it just reminded me of like being at church.
See, I like the organ.
Entire reason.
I like the organ because it's not in any music that I would typically listen to aside from Beach
We
House.
gotta listen to some ELP, man. Callum's just gonna fucking hate it. It's all organ.
We're gonna fucking sing "This Little Light of Mine" next.
Yeah.
I mean, don't fucking hide that shit under a bushel.
That's my next song choice.
Can we do
like all church songs.
Christmas? We don't do Christmas music. Yeah. We just do our favorite hymns.
Yeah, like what? There's so many good ones.
Read from Leviticus.
What's the "He will raise you up on eagle's wings"? Remember that one?
No.
Oh.
Maybe that's a new one.
What about
they added that shit?
Do you ever take a walk with Jesus?
No.
Oh,
dude, you just said like a way cool songs.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They're not cool when you've heard them like 40
What church did you go to?
St. John's, because there was like a church right next to my elementary school.
Yeah, I went to St. Raves, which is right next to St. Raves.
So that's the church you went to?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've gotten a little bit off topic, but...
Yeah, I didn't go to church. I'll just...
You're one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just the organ that you didn't like? That's it?
Yeah. That was it.
Just because it reminds you of church?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know, I just got like a Vietnam flashback.
Oh my God.
It's like... Because like there are songs that I know that like... what was the fucking song? Swing Swing by the All American Rejects starts with organ, then the organ like fades out into a different instrumental. There's something like with this started, I was like, oh, it's like that song, and then like it was under the whole thing, and I was like, fuck, all right. Maybe then like I didn't even hate it. It was distracting to me.
Okay, interesting.
It's a me thing. I understand that. That's a nobody else problem.
You said this was your favorite song on this side of the album, though?
I did. I think, like I said, The Hours is like the most interesting song, like kind of like multi-layered, but
oh yeah, I did want to say about The Hours that it was the rounds at the end were really interesting. Like I really like that in music with like almost two people singing at the same time but saying different things.
Mm-hmm,
I really like that in music, and it was really well done. It was only for a couple of lines at the end of The Hours, but I like that a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess this one just was like the most similar to one of the tracks on side one. Like it just felt a little bit more structured and more memorable to me. Like that, I could see myself listening to this one, separate of the album, whereas the two previous tracks, maybe not outside of the context of listening to the whole thing. But yeah, this one probably is like the clearest, I would say, in terms of like the meaning. Like I think this one is a little bit more upfront, but yeah.
I think this one also has much more traditional instruments for the most part. Outside of the organ, like I can actually pick out very specific instruments.
Yeah.
Like the electric guitar was clearer as a guitar and stuff like that. I feel like the other songs they tried to make it hard to pick out. Like, is this guitar? Is this piano? Like, what was what?
Mm-hmm.
But this one was the most distinct, like what each instrument was and what its role was, which was interesting.
The drum machine that no one noticed.
Yeah, I don't even know what a drum machine sounds like, so I'm going to have to like listen out for that next time you tell me there's one. Next time we do a song that has one that you know has one, warn me, and I'll try and listen for it. So I can pick that out.
Any other thoughts on Troublemaker?
I mean, I'd be interested to hear you guys' interpretation of the meaning, because I feel like for this song, more than the others, I kind of struggle to understand what the song's about.
Mm-hmm. Well, You know what? It could be because I did kind of see the description on Genius, and that kind of gave me an inkling of this is what this person says. On Troublemaker, the singer remembers an ex-lover and how he helped her overcome her problems, then some moments together, and finally how their breakup still hurts her even today. I think, I don't know, just this to me just seems more like a straightforward kind of song, narrative-wise, than some of the other tracks.
It doesn't feel quite as deep.
Yeah.
It feels like more something that would hit. Because a lot of these songs, like, they have different meanings, and like you interpret them in different ways, which I think for somebody who enjoys music is a big plus. But for somebody who just listens to like top 40 pop, this song might be more enticing to them, just because like it's clear that it's like, I dated a guy, he broke up with me, and I'm sad.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that shallow, but it's more straightforward what it means.
It stands out more though, I feel like, because the rest of the album is just very like drifting between.
It's different. Almost like it's the most unique song so far.
Yeah, and this is almost like I have a coherent thought. Yeah. You know,
this is when you snap awake and you're like, oh my god, ow, my neck.
I don't.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Are you good? Okay.
Comes through his neck out.
I'm getting bored, guys.
A little whiplash.
Yeah, a little bit. It's because I'm like leaning like this to fucking talk to the mic.
Just be like me, just like talk like this and have no one. The mic doesn't pick you up.
Talk like that and have me have to.
I keep having to move closer.
Louder afterwards.
Yeah. The amount of times Jack looks over at his phone to like look at the lyrics, and I'm like, I don't even know if the mic's picking up.
No, Jack's like looking off to the side and down.
But I don't want to say it because it's like the whole thing, where I don't want you to
be really like
focusing on it. Yeah.
That is, in editing, it's driving me fucking crazy sometimes.
What?
Because it's everybody. Because like I say like a lot, and
I do like as well.
Yeah, and like so is a big one. And it's just listening to it back and like listening, be like, should I edit this out? Should I just leave this? Like, there are some that there's a lot of them that I just leave. There's some where it's like somebody will be talking and then like take 2 seconds of silence, then just go, Anyway,
so unnecessary.
It's just like that's going. It's like 6 dead seconds.
Okay, well, are you guys ready to?
Yeah, let's get excited.
Yeah, the next 2 songs, "New Year" and "Wishes," and then we got 2 more songs after that, and then we're done.
Awesome. All right, we'll listen to those songs and then come back. Don't go too far.
Ew, that sounds so creepy. What was that?
We will be waiting.
Y'all come back now, yeah?
Yeah, we just listened to "New Year" and "Wishes." Yeah, what do you guys think?
I really like "Wishes."
Interesting.
"New Year" felt to me like a song if I was listening to the album, I might skip on future listens. Not to say that it was like bad, but I just kind of like there's nothing there that keeps me coming back.
I actually would say the opposite. I don't know why.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. We'll get into the specifics of why on each song, I guess, but as a side, it's interesting that it's polarizing.
What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah. What do you like? Break the tie.
Out of the 2?
Yeah, which one do you like better?
Oh, God. I mean, I like both of them, but I guess lyrically, "New Year"
God damn it.
takes the cake. There's just something about the song, at the one line that says, where is it? "Just enough to tell a story about a portrait of a young girl waiting for a new year." Like, I just feel like that line itself is just very poetic.
It's very, like, flowery.
And stands out to me. So.
That's why I was like, I can't relate to this. I'm not a girl. No.
It's not that deep.
No, I know. No, I think, I like the lyrical content of the song. I think the metaphor, I don't know if it's a metaphor, but like just the new year, like as in like a, it almost reminded me of like, New Year's, you do resolutions. And so it's like, it seems like she keeps talking about these promises that seemingly, she's kind of failed to keep. And so she's waiting for a new year to set new promises and have another chance.
Kind of like looking for a clean slate.
Yeah, I got that too, especially when she talks about writing it down in a letter. That's, funnily enough, something that I used to do every year on New Year's Eve. I would write a letter to myself to open the following year.
And make yourself sad when you did
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, well, like, I would talk about, like, highlights of my year and, like, what I was expecting for the year to come. And, like, most times the year wouldn't go how I thought, but it would still not, it wouldn't be bad, but it just wouldn't be what I expected. And I don't know, it gives you some
I would love to hear the ones between, like, 2021 and 2022.
Oh my god, yeah.
Of, like, what you thought the year was going to be like, and, like, talking about how good, like, a year was, and then a full year of COVID and what, like, the next one was like.
Yeah.
That actually was really interesting.
Yeah. My one pre-COVID and then my one...
I guess it's mid-COVID.
Yeah.
We're not post-COVID.
Because I would have written it 2019 going into 2020 would have been my last one pre-COVID, and then 2020 going into 2021, like, my life was completely different. It's weird reading back on them. It's not so, this was the first year I didn't do it just because I didn't get around to it and whatever. But yeah, anyways, that's what that made me think of. But yeah, it's definitely about time passing by and contemplating what's happening in your life and what's to come.
I said it when we started. It's not in... That's really deep what you just said, and now like the first thing I have written down is this song sounds like a PlayStation booting up when you like it starts.
When
it
starts and it's just like that wah, when like you boots up an old PS1 or PS2 or something. I don't know why. There was some.
I had a feeling you were gonna make some kind of reference like
why
that.
Does this sound like so familiar? It's like the producer in the back room is like, I'm playing God of War.
Yeah. Shit.
The white caught that. This band really likes double breaks. Like, when they pause singing, and then they, like, go into a sound break, and they play it for, like, 2 bars. For, like, a full count of 8 of just music and no vocals. They do it in Myth quite a bit, and they actually do it in a lot of these songs. New Year stood out really strongly for that, of, like, one of the major choruses ended, and then it was just, like, drums for 8 seconds, or 8 beats, and then came back. Which is pretty cool, I like that.
Yeah,
I actually think this is my favorite song on the album outside of Myth.
Really?
Yeah, I actually really like this one. It seems to, I don't know if like you guys get really melancholic around New Year's, but I do.
Yeah, sometimes.
For sure.
And this song seems to capture that really well. Like that feeling of
regret or like...
Yeah, like New Year's isn't a time that I feel happy, typically. It's like I don't even know how to describe the feeling. It's a weird feeling. That I only
bittersweet.
Kinda, yeah. And this song seems to have that of like, well, it's new beginnings, but like it's almost at the same time it's lost time.
Yeah. Like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Like coming to terms with life keeps going and
you can't slow it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I do actually quite like this song.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad song. I just it might be my least favorite. Which is kind of funny. That tracks with like our taste in music. I don't know why. Jack's favorite shit is like the stuff I hate the most. Yeah. Well, you didn't mind Wishes though.
I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
I just thought this one was better.
Is that your favorite so far?
That's not my favorite, but I preferred out of the 2 songs on the side. I like that one better. I don't know. Let me look at the lyrics. One thing I wanted to point out about Wishes that I thought was interesting was there's like a semi-guitar solo in it, which I thought was really interesting because none of the other songs have a guitar solo, and they just kind of snuck that in there. So it felt kind
sneaky guitar solo.
Yeah, because
guitarist like got into the recording booth, like they'll never hear it.
And I don't know. I don't want to go off on like a tangent here, but I don't like how like the guitar solo has become like uncool in like a lot of like modern or contemporary like.
Has it? Every fucking song I listen to has a guitar solo in it.
Okay, but like even like current like past like 5-10 really.
Yeah, Billy Talent's new albums always have guitar
maybe
solos.
maybe it's okay. Maybe it's not like maybe in straight rock music it's still there, but like
which is all I was. I like rock and punk. There's still guitar solos.
Right. Okay. But if other kind of like,
I think we're in an age of the individual, not the group.
Yeah.
So having a guitar solo is weird because it's like, like if Frank Zappa is singing or something. We were just talking about Frank Zappa, so he's in my mind. And then there's a guitar solo. It's like, that's probably not him playing it. So it's kind of like, whatever. But when
It
you
would
think about
be in
like,
Frank Zappa's case, but it's
Does
a
it
bad
put it that?
example, yeah.
well, I don't know. Like,
I know what you mean.
If
No,
Drake has instrumentation in his music, it's not Drake playing the fucking violin.
No. But I don't know. I think it's like, I guess people associate it with like older music. So I feel like maybe there's a hesitancy to include a solo of any kind. But I like that. Even though, it was pretty understated. It's not like some
It's subtle. It's not in your face.
virtuoso like David Gilmour or something. But this song I liked the fact that this one is really like vague,
Oh yeah, that's one of the things I wrote down. Is like I have no idea what this means.
Yeah. Wishes on a Wheel.
It made me think of the Wheel of Fortune tarot card.
I think you see the Wheel of Fortune game show.
No.
That's where my mind went to.
Yeah, with fucking
Nope,
Sparky Gilmore. I think he was
Happy Gilmore, you mean?
no Sparky. I think Sparky Whitmore, who did. I think he was before Steve Harvey, which is also not Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah,
Family Feud.
Completely different game show.
I love Family Feud.
Such
Side
a good
note.
show.
You ever seen
Why is
Family?
my brain? It's like all the neurons are firing, and every single one of them is incorrect.
We can cut this out. But you ever seen Family Feud Canada?
No, we're not cutting this out.
What's the difference?
I've seen like almost every episode because me and my parents would watch that show during dinner. So we just every.
You're like savants of Family Feud Canada.
Oh,
Is there anything notably different?
There's a lot more diversity of the families in Family Feud Canada.
Like, you're gonna say in the questions, but the families is also a good thing to have diversity.
Yeah, because
not just like rednecks.
Well, in the American Family Feud, it's just usually white people or black people.
Yeah,
like that's it. But there's on Family Feud Canada, there's all kinds of different.
It's because are we a melting pot or a mosaic? We're a mosaic.
Mosaic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what any of that shit means.
Yeah. I hear people use that. What's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. Let's just move on.
Back to the
We've gone so far up.
What is happening?
All we're doing is typically we waste an hour of time before we record, and we're not doing that now. So now we're just interspersing it throughout the show.
Yeah. Anyways, Wishes.
Yeah. This song is it's very, very similar to Myth. Like if you listen to them back to back, it's almost like they hit the same notes, but when Myth goes up, this one goes down. Not in like a good and bad way, but like
I know you
just
mean.
like tone wise, they have a different kind of structure. To the point where I kept expecting it to do something it didn't do. Which is funny because
maybe that's why you didn't like it.
No, not even. It's not even that I didn't like it. I just
didn't like it.
Yeah. If this was a traditional like 2-sided LP, like 6 songs on one side, 6 songs on the other, this would be matching up with Myth as the first song on that side.
Right.
So kind of having it as almost like a similar but opposite kind of song is interesting. It's just odd that it's structured in this way of like 3 songs per side. You kind of lose that, but I think if it was a more traditional album layout, that'd be a cool correlation to make.
Yeah, the Wishes on a Wheel lyric to me kind of, it's kind of reminds me of like a circle of life or something, or like revolving, like, things eventually come back to, where they began, or that the wishes are something like you always have a wish, but they're revolving and they kind of can swap out. I don't know. That's what I kind of like about the lyrics is that you can interpret them in so many different ways, right? Like,
you mean almost like you have something you want, and then like you have a different thing you want, and a different thing you want, and a different thing you want, and by the time like you go past all of those desires, it comes back around to the first thing you wanted. Full circle,
yeah. Or just like it's filled with something, and then you accomplish everything, and then it's like it starts again.
Yeah.
It also has a line where it says, "One in your life, it happens once and rarely twice." I think that's kind of speaking to like, you can wish for your ideal life or your ideal circumstance, but very rarely does everything add up and align exactly the way you want it to when you want it to. And when those moments do happen on that rare occasion, you should, appreciate that and know that like this doesn't come around too often. Things don't always work out perfectly the way that you want them to, and when they do, it's important to like step back and appreciate that.
Yeah. To me, that line kind of reminded me of like true love or something. Like it happens once, What?
The way, it kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, like True Love or some shit. Like,
Or some
I don't know, some
bullshit.
Yeah, some weird, yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, I kind of, that, I feel like that's something that is, like people usually only get married to one person or twice or
Not anymore.
Well, no, you know what I mean. Like, traditionally.
Same as the kid of divorced parents.
Yeah, there's a couple lines. Like that's what I like about this song is just kind of you can kind of copy and paste your own experiences onto the lyrics. And
it's almost like a mostly blank
about.
Canvas.
Yeah. Like the where's the lyric? The voices in the hall will carry on their talking, carry weight you can't take. I feel like when somebody hears that, everybody has something that sort of comes to their mind of like
some kind of baggage that
difficult to bear.
Yeah. But you have to like keep trekking along and work on it. Yeah.
So that's what I like about this song, and I mean you could say Beach House as a whole is just like it's evocative, but not in a super specific way. It's just like we're gonna throw these sort of vague emotions at you, and you sort of do the
fill in the blanks.
Association. Yeah.
It's kind of like a give and take. It's like they're gonna provide a feeling, and you provide the memory.
Right. Exactly.
And then like with those things together, it creates an experience that you like can not even enjoy. Because I'm sure like some of these like memories people have that could be related to these songs. There's a lot of breakup songs on here and like dying relationship songs. A lot of that can be painful for people. So it's not even like it's necessarily like it feels good.
Right.
But it is a really interesting way to make music.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a good side. I do like both of those songs. I liked New Year more. For like personal experience reasons, I guess.
That's fair.
All right, last side.
All right, we're almost
Let's
there.
do it.
Yep.
God, we would have been like halfway through the Limelight on Broadway.
We've been listening
I know.
Could you imagine doing that on a Monday night when you had work the next day? We'd be here until like the next day.
I wouldn't be here at all.
No.
So
Let's do the last two songs and we will do the same. Because that's what we do. I don't know why I'm explaining the podcast halfway through. If you've gotten this far, you figured it out. All right. See you in a minute.
Gotta
reposition here.
I'm all slouched back. All right, that was the last two tracks on Bloom by Beach House. So I guess On the Sea we'll start with. Initial thoughts.
It was almost like...
It seems like so long since we...
It's
been an eternity.
We'll get to why it felt like forever in a minute. But Jesus Christ. We are not clever people.
This is one of my... I'd say this is in the top 3 for me with Myth, The Hours, On the Sea.
I like this one too, yeah.
I also like this one. I don't know if it's one of my... Maybe it is one of my favorites. It's got a very interesting feeling of... Very specifically, listening to it on vinyl with that like background static, it made me feel like I was in somebody's home. I guess I am in somebody's home, but like...
Yeah, where are we listening to
Sorry, we're doing this in like a parking lot.
Yeah.
Like somebody should playing this like alone in their house and you can kind of like, you're getting a glimpse into their life. I don't know why. Like the static reminded me of a crackling fire, and the way that the piano sounded was... It didn't feel like a studio recorded performance. The intro felt like just somebody playing.
It was very homey.
Yeah, and then the
of
outro also felt like that, and the in-between felt more like the rest of the music. So it felt like you were seeing this and then falling asleep as the song picks up. And when the song dies down in the outro, it's like you were waking up again. Which I thought was a really cool way of doing that.
Yeah, this song, the lyrics to me had a very like existentialist kind of vibe to them. A lot about, how far, wouldn't you like to know how far you've got left to go? Hindsight, a lot about time, like just sort of expressing kind of musings on life, I guess, just kind of in a very poetic way, like
Kind of like a look back, which is fitting because it's one of the last songs on the album.
Yeah, and just like out on the sea, we'd be forgiven. Our bodies stop the spirit leaving. So it's almost like talking about the separation of your spirit from your physical body, and like I don't know, just kind of like I don't know where I'm going. I've kind of lost. I'm rambling again. I figured it out.
It's definitely a song that contemplates life and death and, coming to terms with how much time you might have left, or even coming to terms with the fact that no one ever really knows how much time they have left. And I think just overall, this song stands out of all. I feel like all of the songs on this album fit together, and you can tell that they're all on the same album. And I think this one musically sounds the most different.
Yeah, this one I think liked. Troublemaker are both more unique. They still fit the vibe of the rest of the album.
Yeah,
but they don't have that same. I don't even know how to describe it. But.
It's not like the dream trance rhythm.
Yeah,
but
maybe that's what it is.
There's a different element to it that kind of separates it from the rest of the album.
This one is definitely more instrumentally sparse than the others. It's mainly a piano, sort of an acoustic instrument, and that kind of separates it from the rest of the pack too. Also, something I noticed, the melody was, to me, very reminiscent of Myth. It almost was I at a certain point I almost thought it was a reprisal of Myth.
It's funny because I thought that about which one was it? I have it written down. One of the songs on the left side. Yeah, Wishes was that for me.
Okay. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. Yeah. I liked it though. It was good.
Yeah. Well, we also should say, because we figured this out while we were waiting, that the day we are recording this is the 11-year anniversary of the album releasing. We didn't know that.
Weird.
Did not know that going in. Just this song randomly came up on our wheel, and this is the day that this is not the day we were supposed to be recording. Yeah. We were supposed to be doing this on Mother's Day, and we all forgot it was Mother's Day.
Shame on us.
Yeah, so it was.
Well, we've proved God's existence.
Yeah. He's pretty cool. And he was like, you know what? I'm gonna put Mother's Day.
He loves Beach House.
When God created the Earth, he's in thousands of years, because the Earth is only thousands of years old, as we know.
Of course.
We're both
diehard creationists.
Yeah, when Beach House makes what is the song called?
Bloom.
The 11-year anniversary will be on a Monday, but this podcast is going to be on a Sunday. So we're going to have to make that Sunday Mother's Day.
Right.
To bump it to be the correct date.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thanks, God.
The big guy upstairs.
Big G.
Shout out to my main man, JC upstairs.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
I'm down with JC.
Anyway.
JC
Penny.
No. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Anyways. On the Sea. Good song. Like the lyrics. Probably the most melancholic.
Sorry, it's us at the end of an album. We're I feel at the beginning we're really concise what we're saying, and then we're this one,
Jesus Christ,
it's good.
When it's a full album episode, I feel
it's hard by the time you get to the end.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll get more used to it, but it is listening through it and talking the whole time is
and trying to think of constructive thoughts on each song, especially when I'm going to use our buzzword for the episode, when the songs are all so vague.
Yeah.
Take a shot, everybody. If you're of age, of course.
Oh my God.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Let's just
the next on the bingo card is that Jack ensures everybody watching is 18 plus.
Yeah. When you upload this to YouTube, it's is this made for kids? You're no. Nope. There's encouragement of alcohol.
Just in case we talk about the painting. That's why it's 19 plus. In case we bring up the painting.
That's for when we eventually do an episode where it's actually being filmed.
Yeah. That's going to be one of our hidden running things. Actually, I think we're just going to reference the painting in the room.
I think that we should crop it, and that should be our image for the show.
We ditch the logo
and just use that. Just crop that little piece out.
I highly disagree.
I think
it's 2 versus 1.
I think we get banned from YouTube. I'm not agreeing with you. What are you talking about?
Why would you assume?
Yeah, we'd have to upload that to a very different platform if you catch my drift. No. But anyways, any other thoughts on the Sea?
I don't think so.
No, okay. I just I
liked it, but yeah,
I think it's in my top
4 for me probably.
I would, yeah, top 5 for me.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the first 3 tracks were like my favorite.
I liked Myth and Wild a lot. I also liked New Year quite a bit. And
What's the third track on?
Lazuli.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last, you're the host, so
Yeah. Don't step on my territory over here.
We will beat Jack up.
I fucked up, guys.
All right, last song, Irene. It's a long one.
17 minutes.
And
But not all of that is music.
It's not 17 minutes.
And also, if you're listening on vinyl, it's not 17 minutes.
Yeah, so on Spotify...
Unless you let the lock groove in the middle of the record play for fucking 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on Spotify, this song is 17 minutes long, and it's like 6 minutes, 8 minutes of silence in the middle.
Yeah.
If you listen to it on vinyl, the second part after the silence never plays because at the end of... It's at the end of Irene, realistically.
Right.
There's a locked groove, so that the album just like spins on that groove forever. It never moves on.
Unless you move it.
Yeah. If you do move it, there's a hidden final track. I guess that is still called Irene.
No, it's called Wherever You Go. At least on Genius, they refer to it as Wherever You Go.
Well, on Spotify, it's as one song. And I'm sure, like, it probably, you can call it something else, but I think that they're definitely connected.
Yeah.
For sure.
I like the beginning of the song. It felt like a fitting ending song. Like when it came on, the words curtain call came to mind to me.
Yeah.
And then it just went on forever. It just kept repeating.
Yeah.
It wasn't my favorite track. I really, really liked the
agree.
beginning, and then it just like hits a point. And the thing is that this album is exactly, if you listen to it on Spotify anyway, it is exactly 1 hour. Mm-hmm. It makes me wonder if that was intentional. Like this song was repetitive and has this weird silence break to make it an hour.
I like the repetitiveness. I like it because they do that a lot throughout the whole album.
Yeah. This kind of just takes it to a new level.
Well, but I think I like that because it's like
full circle moment.
And it's like it's just taking it to the extreme, and it just kind of builds to this like cacophonous, ending, and I liked it. There's a lot of I think this song especially like is a song where you need to have like some patience.
This is a song that you would not listen to without it being the end of the album, I don't think.
Yeah, it works very well as a...
Yeah, like as the final song, that's the only time you're going to be listening to this. You won't listen to this on your own, on its own.
And that's why I'll give bonus points for this record because I think that it's clearly meant to be an album, It's not like a concept album or anything, but just like the way it's structured from front to back is very much like there's been a clear purpose to the way that it flows.
Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of albums that do that. They have the tracks on there that are like, you're never going to listen to this unless you're listening to the album.
Right, like filler tracks.
Yeah, the Killers have on Sam's Town, there is, I think it's Interlude and Exitlude or something like that, which is like some of the early, like that's the second, first, and the last songs.
Right.
That do that. And same with Dead Silence by Billy Talent, which is one of the ones on my list for the album review. It was like the first song is called The Lonely Road to Absolution. You would never listen to it unless you were listening to the full album.
Right.
Yeah.
So this isn't anything like super strange, but it is a really, really good way to wrap up the album because it kind of gets all those feelings that the album has given you and like takes them back and like shows them to you again. It's like everything you felt listening to this, here it all is again front and center.
What do you think the lyrics are about? Are they about somebody named Irene?
They do not say the word Irene at all.
I don't know what the meaning is behind the name of the song, but to me the song is kind of questioning like what happens after you die, like when they're talking about like a strange paradise, and then once it kind of comes back into that last bit of the song, I think that it's kind of speaking to like, oh, it is whatever you want it to be in a way.
Yeah, like somebody has passed away who was like a close friend or something like that, and it's kind of the idea of like they're waiting on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting.
Which
I didn't pick up on that.
I really like the way that this is one of the awesome things about music. But like to compare this song to the first song that I showed on the podcast, which was "Cure for the Enemy" by Billy Talent. It's both like dealing with the loss of somebody's specialty or like the loss of a loved one, and the way that the difference between the way Beach House and Billy Talent approaches things are so radically different, even though it's the same topic, is really interesting to me.
That, if Jamie's interpretation is correct, then it really makes sense placing this track after, what is it?
On the Sea.
On the Sea.
Yeah.
Because that song is about how much time do I have left
Yeah.
on Earth, and whatever. And then this song is like,
It almost makes you question, like, listening to On the Sea, it's like, it thinks you're talking about her, like questioning her own mortality, but now listening to Irene, it's like, well, was that...
right.
Or was it her
somebody else?
watching somebody else and it's reflecting on her own ideas?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Which is interesting.
This is more multi-layered than I expected.
It's a good album.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we can kind of talk about what you guys thought of the album as a whole. Obviously, I love this album, which is why it was one of my picks, but...
Is it your top 5 favorite?
I don't know.
'Cause
I mean...
It's hard to pick albums as favorites.
Yeah, that would be tough to say.
Do you think it's easier to pick albums than songs? Because to me, it's way easier to pick albums.
Easier?
I would say probably, yeah.
I think it's easier to pick an album because an album is... You especially for like a podcast, you can be certain there's going to be something on the album to talk about. Like picking a song, it's like I need to know that there's something in this song that we can all...
No,
Yeah.
I just meant...
as a favorite.
As a favorite.
Oh,
Album's probably easier
Yeah.
because I feel like
actually- I don't know.
when you pick an album that you truly like love all the songs or everything, all the elements add together, I feel like that's more rare than just like a song you like.
Yeah.
I guess. Like one of my favorite songs of all time is Reptilia by The Strokes, but the album it's off of isn't one of my favorites of all time.
Well, that can be true, yeah.
Just because I think that to make like a really, really good album, the songs have to have some kind of interplay. Like it's not just a collection of good songs. Like every album isn't the best of. And if you're saying like, oh, I'm going to pick a favorite album, you're probably never picking the best of albums.
No.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's almost like a cop-out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it might be all
compilation.
great songs, but you need the songs in the order that they're in.
Yeah.
So it does get, I think for me it gets tricky because albums are so uniquely different. It's like saying like, oh, pick your favorite movie and you like both something like All Quiet on the Western Front and you like a Marvel movie. It's like, these are so different in what they're trying to do that it's difficult to compare them. Yeah, at least to me.
Yeah, that's fair, but I was just curious because like The Lamb was like, I think I said it was my favorite album.
You did.
So
Which my opinion,
bold
it's like you said that, and then like the fallout thing of like Callum disliked that popped up. Callum will remember that, and like the butterfly like landing in Until Dawn.
would you say it's your favorite or one of your favorites? Well,
Yeah,
it's one of your
I'd say it's up there. I mean, I think that there's a lot I can appreciate about this album in terms of, I think all the songs are good. And I think that you can either appreciate it by listening to it very intentively or it can just be passive music.
Yeah.
Where
I
you don't
think-
necessarily have to
It
be
works
paying
as both,
attention.
yeah.
With the exception of the last song being kind of weird, I don't think there's a single song on here that I would skip.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't all songs I would like individually, but I would put this album on and listen to it all the way through until the last song.
Yeah, there's
And then I
not
would take
anything that's like, oh, I don't like this song, I'm going to skip it.
Yeah, like there. I
There's
think
no
almost
waiting
every
room on this album.
Yeah,
Thankfully.
I wouldn't skip the waiting room. So.
No, you wouldn't.
Well, you're
I
different.
begged you to. Is there anything else? I do really like the percussion with Beach House. The focus on the drums, like the whole thing is ethereal, and it feels like the drums are the only thing grounding you.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So even though they're kind of subdued,
They need to be there.
they are so omnipresent at the same time that it's a really good way of finding something solid. It's like, I guess this album felt like water to me. I don't know how to describe it better. It felt like the seaside.
There's a lot of like aquatic
I know.
imagery going on.
It's interesting. But then the drums feel like the sandbank. It's like that's what you're standing on and the rest of it is floating
You're on the
around.
beach,
Oh,
man.
I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, I see that.
I think the name of the group is perfect.
It really is.
Yeah.
In a way you wouldn't think of. Because again, like it's not beach listening to music.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I guess maybe not in like the traditional way of like, let's all go to the beach.
Yeah,
and
it's not
have
Jimmy
fun.
Buffett.
But it's like, it's
Jimmy Buffett is your beach music?
Did you guys know?
Margaritaville.
I can't
that-
picture you listening to Jimmy
I
Buffett.
don't.
Ocean
Margaritaville
Away.
slaps. The rest of the song. The rest.
I
of
think that's the only one I know.
It's the only one anybody knows.
Yeah.
But Harrison Ford provided the whip crack sound effects for one of the songs on Jimmy Buffett's album Last Mango in Paradise.
Last
And
Mango.
all of that is true.
That is amazing.
Super weird. Anyway, the next album we're doing is Margaritaville. I think that's the album. I don't even know what the fucking album is called. The Jimmy Buffett. That's Margaritaville.
That would be hilarious.
We're not doing Jimmy Buffett.
No. I'll pick Margaritaville for right now. I'm joking.
Can't wait. That song is actually pretty good.
It's a great song.
I'm kind of into
that's the episode where we all get hammered off margaritas, I think.
Is there anything else?
No, I feel content.
All right.
Good album. 2 thumbs up from Mr. Jack over here.
Mr. Jack.
And now we pick our next album.
Oh yeah, we got
Spin for one of mine. I've removed everybody's but mine.
Ooh.
Yep. Jack, get that sound effect going closer to the mic. I didn't spin it. I was getting too excited. We have.
What do we have? Oh my god.
It just never stops spinning.
Hot Fuss by The Killers,
Okay.
which is their first ever album, and it is the album that Mr. Brightside was on.
Oh.
Which is a song I believe that remained in the UK top 40 for like since its release in 2004.
Not surprising.
For about 20 years, that song was like top 40 in the United States.
I do know that
or in the
song.
UK. Yeah.
I think that's the only Killer song I know.
It's a good one. It's one of my least favorite on the album because I've heard it a billion times.
Oh my god, I hear it every Thursday at Dickens for karaoke.
Oh my god. It's a good song. Stop playing it.
Yeah.
But there's some really good songs on there, so that's one that I'm excited to share with you guys.
What year did that come out?
2004.
2004.
Yeah, it was 2004, and then I think Sam's Town, which is actually my favorite Killers album, was 2006.
I was
I look forward to that
not
episode.
quite 2 years old, probably, unless it came out in December.
I was 6 years old. So,
There you go.
all right. So, thank you for joining us. Like, comment, and subscribe.
All that fun
all the
stuff.
YouTube
All the
things.
YouTube
All
bullshit.
that jazz.
All that shit you like, jazz. We'll be back next week with a regular episode, and next, I guess in 4 weeks, we'll have the Killers for you. We might have the Killers before that. Maybe I'll throw a Killers song in there as one of mine. Oh, it's not. I'm going to do that one that I think you'll like.
Okay.
Off a different album.
No, it's not a Killers song. I forgot that I had already picked my next one.
Oh, the
Okay.
rap one.
Yeah, the rap
I don't
one.
have my
Yeah,
next
I picked a
one
rap song.
Yeah, Callum picked a rap
I picked a
song.
rap
Yeah,
song. And
that's
it's
gonna
not,
be an interesting
It's
one.
not Linkin Park.
Okay.
So stay tuned in like 3 weeks for that. So
All right.
thanks for listening.